Brooke Fullerton, Youth for Christ Parent Life Director. Welcome to Drive Time Lincoln.
Hi, thanks so much for having me. Happy to be here.
Yeah, really appreciate it. We were just kind of talking off air. It always amazes me when I find or someone sends me something about, people that are struggling in America, but then I'm always equally impressed by the people that step forward and the organizations that look out for folks. And in this case, we're talking about young folks that are parents.
Yeah. Yes, pregnant and parenting teens.
Yeah, explain. Youth for Christ, Matt Schulte's been on plenty of times. We generally know the broad mission there, but you're focused kind of on parent life for teens.
Absolutely.
Tell us about that.
I always joke that it's my favorite one because I get the trifecta of awesome, I call it. It's Jesus, teens, and babies, adorable babies. So, what could be better? What could be better? So, we just come alongside pregnant and parenting teens here in Lincoln. We have a lot of guys, it's kind of maybe a surprise that a lot of teen dads are stepping up and they're just really breaking generational bonds and being amazing dads and really trying hard. And they didn't have maybe great experiences themselves, but they are really overcoming it. And I'm just always so proud and so in awe of my dads, and my moms are amazing. There's just a huge stigma that maybe they're not, and that could not be further from the truth. They're amazing parents.
Sure. I know there's been some highlights, and, one of the things I saw, which surprised me, is that of all the youth that are kind of out there, 43% of them are unsheltered. They're homeless.
Yeah.
And even here in this area, you guys serve about 1,000, but even in the Nebraska kind of region, we have 23,000 folks, that are young and are struggling. And you take, the percentages from national studies. Half of them don't even have shelter.
Yeah, it's a huge problem here in Lincoln. And I obviously can't speak for any other communities, but Lincoln has a huge homeless problem. And if you don't know that, like me, then thank God. Yeah, you don't, because it's a really, really bad problem. 2 hours ago, I was at the hub with 2 teen parents trying to figure that out and figure out where they're going to live and how they're going to do life when they don't have a place to live. And that's a very real problem. There's just a lack of quality housing that's safe for them, that's safe for their tiny babies. And when they're coming and going, they need a safe space. They don't need to be harassed going into their apartments. And that's if they can even get an apartment.
Sure.
So there's just so many rules and stipulations, and for good reason. But it's just, if you don't have a cosigner, which most of my teen parents don't. There's just a lot of reasons for that, but they don't. And it's just really, really difficult to get the pay stubs that you need to qualify for the apartment, even if it is a low income one. So
I think when people, with anything we have in society, sometimes there's stigmas that people don't realize, or maybe we're biased, but there's been a couple of stories that you've dealt with that, really kind of speak to it. Could you give the audience an example of some of the struggles of how a teen, has got to this point, and what you guys can do to help, ease that and get them going in the direction they want to go?
Yeah. So I'm always very careful because these are real people, right?
Yeah.
And it's not my story to share, but I will share some general information. And this is not unique to just one person, but we have several who are maybe in a domestic violence situation. And so to leave that person, it just seems like, yes, absolutely, let's leave that. That's not safe. And that's, again, if you don't understand that, praise God, because that means you haven't walked with them or walked in those shoes. And that is very difficult to leave, because maybe you get the courage to leave. Maybe you have the resources to leave, but then you have to have a place to go. And that's just really where it gets tough. And so Parent Life doesn't have magical homes that we all get to live in happily ever after. I wish we did. I really do. But we don't. So we just connect teen parents. We empower them, let them know that they're worthy of that they deserve better, because a lot of times, maybe from their past family situation or their past partner situation, they don't even believe that they deserve better and that they are worthy of a safe and loving environment to raise their children in and be in themselves. So it's really great. We get to come alongside them and just speak life over them and let them know, I know that I had one girl that I just said, you're better than this. I was dropping her off at a place that I didn't feel safe dropping her off with a child, with 17 people living or staying, I should say, in that place for the night. And she was just better than that. And when I looked her in the eye through tears and said that to her, she said, "No, I'm not." And that breaks my heart more than anything, because that's just not true. Like, we know that's not true, and they do deserve better. So we get the amazing privilege to come alongside them, speak that life over them, let them believe and begin to believe. It's not an overnight thing. I don't just tell her once and she's like, "Yep, I'm worthy." But then also connect them with different places. Lincoln does have a lot of great resources. And I always am excited to tell all of my kids every day that there is thousands of people in Lincoln that wake up every single day just to make their life better. To think about food and diapers and transportation and childcare and housing. And so that's really encouraging to them. But we at Parent Life get to walk alongside them, introduce them to faith and Jesus. And we have an answer that housing doesn't have, or food bank doesn't have, and that's Jesus, that provides every need. And so it's just really awesome for us to be able to do that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I think that, again, folks, you got to take a minute to, thankfully, most of us probably have never been in these shoes, because you would immediately have the sympathy, the empathetic nature. Others of us have to work hard to understand the problem set, the dynamic, and where to go for resources. And I think that, just when you hit it off with something basic, I mean, domestic abuse, violence, whatever, it's bad around the world, it's bad in America, but these relationships, and oftentimes young people, there's history. And so it's not as easy as just stepping away. And then there's I'm young, and providing and caring for another very young person, and the basics, which maybe you and I could take for granted,
right,
can hamper those decisions. And then, and I like that Parent Life and Youth for Christ is connected within the community and helping people find the resources. Otherwise, you don't inherently just go, I know where all the resources at. It's just not how things work.
I wish it were that easy.
Right. I mean, even if, like me, if you're going to join the United States military, I mean, it sounds great, but it's like, well, where do I go? What specific job?
Right.
How do I do it? What requires what? To have folks. And then you bring up a good point, which is, I think, the faith-based aspect, which a lot of times, depending on life, people don't know, haven't been introduced, or maybe they're down on their luck. I mean, I don't know anybody out there, but I'm going to tell you, there's been plenty of times I doubted, my relationship with God.
Exactly.
And it happens, but that can be another key cornerstone of help.
Absolutely. And really, that is the key cornerstone, at least at Parent Life. We believe that, and we want to share that with our girls. We have girls that have maybe been in a strict religion where it was a lot of rules and they think that they're no longer welcome. And so just bringing them that message that no matter how far they've walked away, it's one step back and God is always waiting with open arms, is awesome. It's so awesome to bring that to them, and to just see that actually resonate in their heart is amazing. And then sometimes they've never heard of Jesus, or maybe they've heard that people who believe aren't smart or whatever. And then sometimes they've been raised in other religions, lots of other religions, from Wiccan to Buddhist to Muslim. Like we've seen it all. So we just come alongside them and love on them, and just try to be the hands and feet of Jesus, really.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's great. I know that you guys have a fundraiser also going on around Mother's Day.
Yeah, we do. So what a great thing to implement
I
Teen
keep
Moms.
up on stuff.
And yeah, that's right. And I mean, if you're looking for anything for your mom or the mom of your kids, we have beautiful orchids. We have lots of different options for sale. And it is at yfclincoln.org/flowers. And that sale's going on through Wednesday. You can order, and you can either have them delivered or pick them up at the Campus Life House.
And some of those proceeds will go to your programs.
Yes, absolutely. Correct? Yes, absolutely. So.
Folks, a good way to support out. We all don't have the freedom or the time. Maybe we're dealing with other things, to directly help, like Brooke and everybody at Youth for Christ. But this is a way that, number one, you can get some flowers for somebody that should be very important in your life and support their cause. What have you learned in the journey of supporting about yourself?
About supporting teens?
Yes.
All the time I'm learning something. I'm learning that it's really important to be dependent upon. I run late a lot. And I love to joke about that with my girls and just kind of give them permission to have faults too. I learned that I need to go all in on stuff. It was at the beginning of Lent, and I had made a Lent thing, and then I had kind of explained to my mom how, well, if no one hears me say that, like, that's okay then. And she's like, no, absolutely not. Like, you know, God hears you. You need to go all in. So they are constantly teaching me, and it's awesome. I learn something every single day from them. For sure.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You know, and I always like to say, if you can find yourself in a place where you're kind of paying it forward or paying it right, it comes back to you in droves.
Yes.
But you don't always know it right away. And I suspect many of your teens, you know, struggle, but eventually break through and realize, you know, just how special their life is, how God doesn't make crap.
Right.
We're perfect as we are.
Yep.
And obviously the young child that they've given birth to. And that's got to be very gratifying and neat to watch that transformation.
It is so good. And they are, I can't stress enough how incredible of mothers they are. Like, I would say they're better mothers than me for the most part. Like, and I'm a pretty good mom. Like, that's kind of, I pride myself on that. And like, I had a lot of great mom friends when my kids were growing up, and they're really good. Like I have this one teen mom, and she's amazing. She stays alone. And her baby's 12 weeks tomorrow. Wow. And I just asked her today, I said, how have you ever been more than 20 feet from him in 12 weeks? And she said, no, probably not. Like, she's never had a sitter for him. She's never had anyone else watch him. She is breastfeeding the entire time. He's never had any formula. She didn't have an epidural when she had him. She didn't even drink caffeine while she was pregnant. Like, this is crazy dedication. Like, they are incredible people, and they just work so hard to overcome the stigma that teen moms don't know how to parent. And I would say they do it way better than I did as a young mom. And I had a lot of help. So it's amazing.
I'm going to take a second here. It's one of my personal things, which you alluded to it earlier, which was obviously teen moms, giving birth and that special relationship with a child. But I'm just going to say, dudes, guys, right? We've got to step up. We've got to be there. Listen, it is so important, not just for the mother, but the child, your child, to be part of the whole process. You know, I've had 4 children, and I can tell you that, at some level, being gone at times, I feel guilty and upset that I missed those times. But I was there when I was there, and it's just a phase of life where your child needs you, the mother needs you.
Yes.
Step up, whatever you're fearful of, whether stigma, whatever your other guys are telling you.
Yep.
Be involved.
Absolutely. Yes. And like I said, I do have some great dads.
That's awesome. I was so happy to hear that.
And they are trying so hard, and, they don't know a lot about babies. Like,
heck, I got 4. I don't know anything about parenting.
Exactly. And it all changes. And so they are just really, and I mean, Lincoln needs more of that. Like, if anybody's interested in mentoring teen dads, I can always use you. So, I mean, just from anything from playing basketball to taking the baby to the park, or, just whatever else. Like, these guys there's a lot of people that pour into teen moms. There is not that pour into teen dads. So we definitely need that.
Yeah, that's a good one. Brooke, I'm going to give you a minute here. Just tell the people of Lincoln how they can help out.
Awesome. Well, there's so many ways to help out. First of all, prayer. Like, please always be praying. Like, speaking to God about teen parents is obviously the best thing that you can do. So we are so grateful for that. And I just love to let the teen moms know, like, people are praying for them. That moves them to tears a lot of times, because maybe for you and me, that's common and people tell us that, but for them, it's not. So please be praying for them, praying for their mental health and just their resources. And then we can always use support. We have to raise our own support. And so that's always something that we can use. And buying the orchids helps with that. Absolutely. Give you some beautiful flowers and help a teen mom out while you're at it. So
that's awesome. Brooke Fullerton, Parent Life Director at Youth for Christ. Really appreciate you coming in.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.